Okay, hello class. Today we are going to do some review for your final. I haven't received when the date of our final will be, but today we are going to focus on the materials that will be the material for the final. So there will be two major materials that are discussed after the midterm, which are ethics and aesthetics. So this is basically the two topics for the UAS. And so just to refresh your memory, when we discuss about ethics, we also talk about two other things which are related to ethics, which are norms and morals, or in Indonesia norma atau juga moral. So for norms is defined as something or things that deal with standards of appropriate behavior, and usually there's no value judgment by the individual in norms, while there is value judgment in morals. So instead, society dictates what is acceptable. And then morals involve value judgment and principle about right and wrong in behavior. So they can be decided by individuals or society. So usually if you are not following certain norms, there's no judgment. It's just that you will be considered to be not normal because there's a norm. But usually norms are very specific. Let's say if you have some norms in your family, probably it's not the same with other families' norms, but you follow the norms. But when you go to other family and you didn't follow the norms, it's okay because, well, you are not part of that society. But moral is something that has judgment. Yeah, so if you are not following the moral values, then the society will judge you, although there will be no punishment probably, but there's a social judgment. Yeah, so there's a peer pressure because you do not follow the moral if you break the moral code. As for ethics, it is based upon rules of what is morally good or bad behavior. Since ethics are rules, they are generally determined by society. So morals can be decided by individuals or society, but ethics is based definitely determined not by individual but by society. And ethics is rules. Yeah, it contains a rule like ethics in class, ethics in becoming a doctor, ethics in, let's say, being a judge. So all field of knowledge usually have their own ethics to regulate what people can and cannot do in terms of what is morally good or bad behavior. So because ethics is a rule, so of course there's going to be consequences or punishment. For example, if you are a doctor, you have this ethics of not revealing the information to the patient or to other people except the patient. But if you break the law, then probably your permit to become a doctor will be drawn and you cannot practice anymore. Yeah, you cannot do practice anymore. So that is example of ethics rules, and also consequences or even punishment if you break the rule of ethics. And then we also discuss about the different kinds of ethics. We have meta ethics. This is an ethics about ethics itself, and it deals with the definition of right or wrong. So meta ethics is a branch of ethics that talk about ethics itself. Yeah. And then prescriptive or normative ethics usually checks if the action or outcome of an action fits into the definition of right or wrong. And this is where we also have the three approaches to ethics: the ontology, consequentialism, and the virtue ethics. So it goes into this branch of ethics, yeah, prescriptive or normative ethics. And then descriptive or comparative ethics deals with what society thinks of good or bad, deals with people's belief about morality. So usually this branch will deal with how we compare certain ethical rules in one place to another place and see if there's any similarities or differences, why there are differences or similarities. These all discussed in the descriptive of comparative ethics. And the last one is applied ethics, deals with ethical questions specific to practical fields, just like I mentioned before. Ethics in journalism, ethics in medicine, ethics in, let's say, being an artist. So applied ethics is, as it says, applied. It means that it is practical. So it's something that you have to follow if you are part of a certain group or society. So we move to the prescriptive ethics or descriptive ethics, the second branch, and they have three approaches to ethics, which we have discussed before. We have the ontology, consequentialism or teleological ethics, and the virtue ethics. So the ontology, the keyword is do what is right. So whatever the outcome is, what important is that what you do is right, even though the outcome is bad. But if what you do is right, then you have to do what is right. That is the ontology, and it is contrast with consequentialism, because consequentialism focuses on the ends justify the means. So no matter how bad your action is, if the ends or the outcome is good, then it's okay. So that is the consequentialism approach. Whereas the last one, virtue ethics, talk about the character of the person itself, not action. So if, let's say, that person has a value of self-sacrificing, then that is the virtue of that person. So if that person is brave or wise, then we consult with that person because we know that that person is wise. Then we are talking about virtue ethics. So it's ethics that it's connected or related to one characteristic of a person. So I guess you can find your own example. Yeah, do what is right means that you have to do what is right even though the world will end because you're not doing something wrong. But if you are a deontologist, then you will uh, stay and do what is right all the time, yeah, no matter what the consequences. And it's different with the consequentialism. You don't care about what you do, whether it is wrong or right, as long as the outcome is good. Okay, so I think that is quite clear for the three approaches to ethics. And then we move on to the last material, which is aesthetics. Of course, you still remember the definition of aesthetics. What is aesthetic? It is something related to beauty, the definition of beauty, the nature of beauty, and then what is called beauty, why is it called beauty, and so on. And then the purpose or function of the aesthetics, you can also check that back in the material. And then the aesthetic experience, this is something that quite personal because everyone may have different experience when it comes to aesthetic. And then we also have these two branches of aesthetic, from the aesthetic of nature and aesthetics of human creation, and it's quite obvious what's the difference. Aesthetic of nature are split into three: natural sciences, landscape, human form, and then the human creation into two: visible object and conceptual things. So please remember the branches so that you can know when you are shown something, then you know, oh, this is the aesthetic of landscape, for example. Okay, so please make sure that you understand and at least memorize a little bit on the branches. And also we have three definitions of aesthetic. The first one is personal and it's quite subjective. This is related to the aesthetics experience. So when you are eating something and then you say, oh, this is very tasty, and then your friends say, no, it's not really good, then it is one definition of aesthetic. So it's a particular taste for or approach to what is pleasing to the senses. Yeah, when you try that food, it's pleasing to your tongue, and then you say it's good, but other people say it's not, then it is a personal thing. So that is the first definition of aesthetic, related to something called particular taste, yeah, of someone. And then the second one, the definition is a branch of philosophy dealing with the nature of art and beauty. Now this is more ontological, a metaphysic. This is the definition where aesthetic is talking about the aesthetic itself. So why is someone or something considered to be beautiful? Why is it beautiful? What's the uh, who's going to determine whether this is beautiful or not? So that is the second one. And the last one is uh, aesthetic as theoretical. This is quite objective because in this third definition, aesthetic refers to things that people try to quantify and objectify it, which will result in something quite objective. If you remember about the golden ratio, people try to make something that uh, is in accordance with the golden ratio so that it can be quantified as something beautiful. So this is the definition of aesthetic that relates to particular theory or conception of beauty or art. For example, if something is beautiful, then it has to have certain distance, arrangement, color, uh, organization, and then something else that for example, the distance between one object to another object, if it is a painting or color, and so on. So the third one uh, basically tries to quantify and quantify the beauty through some theory, so that people can agree that if you want to make something beautiful, then you have to follow certain rules, because this is the rules that is objective. Now that's the third one. So the third one is very contrast with the first one. Yeah, the first one, you don't have to care about theory or anything, as long as it pleases to your senses, then that's the definition of aesthetic to you. But the third one, it has to be very objective. You have to know why you say this is beautiful, because blah blah blah, 1 2 3 whatever. Yeah. And the second one is more about the aesthetic itself as a branch of knowledge. Okay, and as for the format of the exam, it will be on site, and probably you will finish it less than an hour, I guess, because the format it will be only multiple choice, true or false, and probably short answer. So probably just multiple choice or true or false. So this a combination of three or maybe only two of them. Yeah. So no worries. As long as you read the material, I guess you will not have problem in answering the question. So this is an on-site exam, yeah, for dasar filsafat. Alright, so that's the end of our review. uh, I'd like to say thank you for your participation throughout the semester, and hopefully you all can pass at least my subject. I guess if you are uh, participating in all the assignment and also do some all the quizzes, or some of the quizzes, I think you will be okay. Yeah, as long as you are present at the final test, then I guess 90% of you will pass the dasar filsafat. Okay, and good luck also for all your finals, and I'll see you during the final test. Thank you, and have a good one.